Hello everyone, I'm Frank, and welcome to Frank Puzzles, and this is today's hard level difficulty puzzle, and it's called SVS number 415, Parity Poopers by Richard. And here are the rules. Apply classic Sudoku rules, which means fill every row, column, and box with the digits 1 through 9 without repeats. Digits in grayscale Gray cells are parity poopers, where digit n in a gray cell has exactly n minus 1 digits of opposite parity, that is odd or even, in the horizontal, vertical, and diagonally adjacent cells. So an 8, say this was an 8 here, in a gray cell has exactly 7 odd digits around it in the 8 surrounding cells, right? So in these cells, so anything that has a gray cell, any digit in a gray cell has exactly that digit minus 1 digits of the opposite parity in the 8 surrounding cells around it, which is in the horizontal, vertical, and the diagonally adjacent cells. So this would be saying that in this gray cell, since there's an 8, this is saying that are 7 odd parity digits around it. A 5, if this was, say, a 5, then this would say there are exactly 4 even digits around this gray cell, etc., etc. And all possible gray cells are marked. So that is a negative constraint here. So basically, if it's not a gray cell, it cannot have n minus 1 cells of the opposite parity surrounding a digit. So say this was a 4. You could not have specifically 3 odd digits in the 8 surrounding cells around this cell because it is not gray. So remember, that is the negative constraint is in force here. And those are actually all the rules. If you'd like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now, I'm going to get started. Let's go. Okay. So, maybe the easiest one to figure out is the gray parities or the gray cells in the corners. Because those are at most, you could have 1, 2, or 3. If you have a 1 there, that's saying you have 0 even cells around there, which is possible. If you have 1, that means there are 0 even cells. That means these are all odd. If you have 2, you're saying you have 1 odd cell in the surrounding 3 cells. Because, again, in a corner, you only have 3 cells that are adjacent to it. Orthogonally, horizontally, vertically, and diagonally. Actually, this could be 4. This could be 1 through 4. So this is 1 through 4 specifically. Okay. If it's 1, that means there are 0 even cells in the surrounding cells. So these would all be odd if that's the case. If there is a 2, that means there's 1 odd cell. So if this is 1, these are all odd. If it's 2, that means there's 1 odd cell. So there's 1 odd and 2 evens in this cell, which is possible. If you have a 3, that means you have 3 in the corner, you celebrate, but you have 2 even cells, so that would also be 2 evens and 1 odd, if that were the case. If you had 4 in the corner, that would mean that you have 3 odd digits around it, which works. Okay. So these digits, the gray digits, then in the corners have to be 1 through 4. The gray cells within the corners have to be 1 through 4. The gray cells on the edges have to be 1 through 6, right? Because you have 5 surrounding cells possible, so this could be 1 through 6. These are 1 through 6, and this is 1 through 6. That's interesting here. This is 1 through 6, this is 1 through 6, and this is 1 through 6, and this is 1 through 6. Okay. Let's see. In any... Okay. Okay, the center cells that are gray. Now that's interesting because there are either 4 odd and 4 even, or there's 5 odd and 3 even if this is an odd digit. Okay, so this is 4 odd and 4 even. Maybe that's actually the one that's more unique, right? Because we know exactly how many odds and evens there are. It's either 4 and 4 or 5 and 3. So, say you had an even digit here. If you have an even digit here, that's 5 odds and 3 evens. So if you have an even digit here, you count the surrounding odds, which would be 5. So this would be 6 then in that case. If you have an odd digit, you add 4 and 4, and you count the surrounding evens, which is 4. So this would be 5 or 6 here. This is 5 or 6. Similarly, any gray circle, any gray cell in the center of a box has to be 5 or 6. Because if it's 6, it's an even digit, so there's 5 surrounding digits that are odd, and that works. So 6 minus 1 is 5. If you have 5 in the center box, that's an even in the center cell. That's an odd digit, so you count the surrounding even digits, of which there are 4, which is equal to 5 minus 1. So we have a 5, 6, 5, 6 pair in column 2. So this can't be 5 or 6. This is 1 through 4. What does that mean then? Any other gray cell can be 1 through 9, right? Yeah. This is 5 or 6. What does that mean? Well, these are opposites. That's fine. Particularly, we're probably going to look at these gray cells because there's a lot of them around here. Okay, so if this is... Okay, so let's look at the possibilities if this is 1. If this is 1, that means there are 0 even cells around it, so this must be odd, this must be odd, and this must be odd. But that doesn't work because these cannot be greater than 6. So you would have 1, 3, 5, but that's all you have. So this cannot be 1 here. If this is 2, that means you have 1 odd cell amongst these, which is possible. If you have 4, Okay, so if you have 4 here, say you had a 4, that means you have 3 odd digits around, which means this has to be 5, and this is 1 and 3. Well, one of these has to be 1, which means there are 0 even digits supposedly surrounding it. Oh. Actually, is that ever the case? I guess in the corners, that could be the case. In the corner of boxes. But if you have a 1 here, you can't ever have a 1 in any gray cell that is in the middle of a box on the edge, right? If you have a 1 here, that means all of these, there has to be 0 evens in here, which means you have 6 odd cells. Sorry, yeah, 6 odd cells in the box, which is not allowed. So neither of these can be 1. These could be 1, though. If there are 5, therefore this would be all odd. This can't be 1 either, right? Because that would mean these 4 digits would have to be odd, but we have only possible 1, 3, and 5 there. Okay. If this is 4, that means all of these are odd, because you have exactly 3 odd digits around it. But the problem is you can't have 1 here. So this can never be 4 either. So this is 2 or 3, which means... Say it's 3, right? If it's 3, there are 2 even digits around it, exactly, and 1 odd digit. So this is odd. One of these would have to, so one of these would be odd, which would force this to be even. This even says there's either, well, it can't be 1, right? Because one of these has to be odd. Therefore, this would have to be a 4. So this is saying there are 3 odd digits surrounding it, which is possible. So this could not be 3 or 4. This could not be 3 or 4. This couldn't be 3 or 4. One of these is a 5, so this can't be 5. One of these has to be even. So we have, right, 2 odds here. And 3 odds in total around here. That seems reasonable. What about if this is 2? If this is 2, this is saying there's 1 odd... Oh, that's interesting. There's 1 odd digit here. And therefore they're 2 even. So 4 and 6 both have to be here. Neither of these are 2. This cannot be 4 or 6 in the box because the 4 and the 6 have to be around these. This couldn't be 2. This couldn't be 2. So both 4 and 6 would have to be here. Can it ever be 6 in the corner? No, right? If this, I mean, sorry, 6 in the middle side. If this is 6, that would mean these 5 have to be odd, but we already have a 2 as an odd. So this can't be 6, therefore this must be a 6. This has to be a 5, and that must be a 4, because this is saying there's 1 odd digit here, which means that's odd. These are even. This can't be a 5. So this must be odd, and this must be odd. This 5 says there are 4 even digits here, so this is odd also. This is a 5 then, which is an odd. So one of the evens is here. This is 6. This is saying there are 0 even digits or 2 even digits, so it would have to be 2 even digits. So that would be a 3. This can't be 3 or this cannot be 3 or 4. This can't be 3 or 4. So this 3 says there's 2 even digits in the surrounding 5 cells. So it has to be those 2, which means these are odd, which means this can't be a 6. You cannot have 5 in there because that would mean there's 4 even digits surrounding it, and we already have 0. We only have 2 at most. So this is 1, which means this can't be 1. These have to be odd. That's interesting. This cannot be 1 because it's saying there is exactly 0 odd digits here. So 1, okay, so this could be 1, 7, 8, or 9. And this is odd, so this can't be 8. This cannot be 9, obviously, because if it's 9, all 8 surrounding cells would have to be even, which is not allowed. So this can't be 9. Can't be 1, because then 0 surrounding cells would be even, so this would be 7. Which means 6 of the surrounding cells all have to be even. So all of these would have to be even. This would then force that to be 8. This would not be even, not be 7, not be 7. So these are odd. This is odd. This has to be a 2, which means all of these would be odd. And it would have to be 1, 7, 1, 3, 7, 9 here. This is even, it's 4, 6, 8. This is even 4, 6, 8. This is even 2, 4, 6. This works for either. This can't be 5. This could be 1 with, So this has 1, 2, 3, 4. It has 2 odd cells, and it can have at most 4 odd cells, so it can never be 6 or 8. Because again, this is a gray cell. So this would have to be 4, which means one of these is even, and one of them is odd. Okay, this 7 says there's 6 evens, which there are there in this scenario. This 1 says there are, what is this digit? This is a gray cell also, right? Yeah, it's a gray cell. So that means it has to be 3, because it's at most 2 even cells. So this is 2 even. Here. So this 2 says there are 1 odd, which it is. This 4 says there are 3 odds around it, which there are. This 6 says there are 5 odds around it, which there are. This 3 says there's 2 evens, which there are. This 1 says there's 0 evens, which there are. This 3 says there's 2 evens, which there are. This 7 says there's 6 evens, which there are. This 5 says there's 4 evens, which there are. This 4 says there's 3 odds, which we haven't got yet. 5 says there's 4 evens, which there should be. So one of these is odd, one is even. We're not sure which is which. This says there's either, if it's a 5, this says there are 4 even cells surrounding it, which there could be. If this is 6, That's saying there are 5 odd cells around it, which it cannot be because then there would be 6 odd cells in box 2. So this has to be a 5 then, which forces this to be 4 even cells here. One of these cannot be odd because at least one of them has to be even, or one of them has to be even because you can't have 6 evens there. So this is even. Then these 3 would all have to be even if that's the case. This can't be a 5. All 3 of these would be even. None of these can be even because we have all the evens there. So this is odd. This becomes 2, 4, and 6 here. But 5 cannot be here anymore or here. So we've just shown that 2 does not work. That's pretty long and convoluted to show that 2 does not work, but that we showed it. So it cannot be 2 in the corner there. That was pretty convoluted. If you had a 2, you have to, it only has 1 odd digit around it, so therefore it has 2 other evens, and they have to be 4 and 6 here. 6 can never be here, because then those 5 would have to be odd, but this is already even, so it's not working, so this can't be 6, this would have to be 6. And then through all that rigmarole, we found out that it doesn't work. So this cannot be 2, this is 3, which means that's 3 in the corner. We celebrate because we know that's a 3. These can't be 3, this can't be 3, this can't be 3, and these can't be 3. That means there's 2 even digits here and 1 odd digit. Well, the odd digit has to be a 5. Therefore, this is an even digit here. This is saying there's either 1 odd digit, which cannot be because we know 3 and 5 have to be here. So this has to be 4 then. This is 4. Neither of these can be 4 then. This can't be 4. This can't be 4. One of these is odd, one of these is even. This cannot be 5 anymore. This can't be 6, because if this were 6, that would mean there's 5 odd digits surrounding it, which we already know 1 is even. If it's 5, if we try to make this a 5, that means there are 4 even digits here, which could be 6. So if this is 5, this has to be 6, 2, 8 here, which is possible. Or if it's 2, this can't be 2 either. So if this is 5, the 6, 2, 8 6 has to be here, and 2 and 8 have to be here. And this cannot be, this would have to be 1. If this is 5, this is 6. Wait, yeah, no. If this is 5, this is 6, and which means this is 2 and 8. The 4 says there are 3 odd digits here. So this has, one of these has to be even, and one of these is odd. Well, if this is 5, that's saying these both have to be odd, because all 4 of these would have to be even. To have 4 surrounding digits be even parity, and that's not possible because one of them has to be odd. One of them even ones has to be here, because we have 3 odd digits around here, which means there's 2 even digits surrounding the 4. And therefore, one of them's here, and then one of them has to be here. So this cannot be 5, this has to be 2, which makes this a 5. Therefore, this is an even, which makes this an odd. This 2 says there's... Wait. Hold up, that doesn't work. This is a gray. Somehow I must have messed up. Okay, let's go back. Let's try 1 again. Okay, so 5. Let's make sure our logic is correct. If this is an odd digit, that means there are 4 even digits surrounding it, so therefore it has to be 5 for it to be gray. If this is an even digit, that means there are 5 odd digits surrounding it, so this has to be 6. Yes, so 5 and 6 is correct here. If this is 1, that means these 3 have to be all. There are 0 evens surrounding it. So these are all odd, which means it has to be the digits 1, 3, 5, 7 at minimum, but we don't have access to a 7 because this can never be 7, because you can't have 6 of the opposite parity surrounding it because there's only 5 surrounding it. So, yes, this can't be 1. If this was 4, that's saying these 3 are all odd. But we can't have a 1 in either of these spots, right? Because that's saying there are 0 evens surrounding it, and therefore that would be 6 odd digits in a box, which is not allowed. So this can't be 4 then, because it would require 1, 3, 5 at minimum, but 1 is not possible in any of these cells. So this is 2 or 3. What if we did 3 again? If this is 3, that means this is an odd cell. Okay, let's mark them with circles because I'm getting the gray is kind of I don't know which one's gray or not. None of these would be 3. If this is 2, that's saying there's only 1. This 3 says there are 2 even cells in the surrounding cells, but that means there's 1 odd cell, and the odd cell has to be here. And is a 5. So this cannot be 2, because that would mean that's 1 odd cell, but we know there's already 2. 1 here and 1 of these. So this has to be a 4, right? This 4 says there are 3 odd cells in these cells, and we know one of these is odd. The other one cannot be odd, because it can only have a 5 here. So this is even and odd. This is even. If this was 6, that would mean there's 5 odd cells surrounding it, but that's not possible. If there's a 2, that means there's only 1 odd cell surrounding it, but then you would have 3 and 5 here because of the 3, saying there's only 2 evens. So 2 doesn't work. This has to be 5, which makes this 6. But the problem is, this 5 says there are 4 evens surrounding it. So these have to both be even, which means neither of these can be even. This 4 says there are 3 odds, but that's already 4 odds here. So that doesn't work. So I don't know how, but I made a mistake when I went down the 2 path. So this 3 obviously doesn't work because of that scenario. So this has to be 2 then. Okay, which means this is even. This can't be 2 here. This can't be 2. This can't be 2. This 2 says there is 1 even. Sorry, 1 odd amongst all these. So there has to be 2 evens here. So can 3 ever be one of these cells? I don't think so, right? If this is 3, that's saying there are 2 evens only in the surrounding 5 cells. But this 2 says there's already 4 and 6. There has to be 2 other there's only 1 odd in surrounding cells. So there has to be an even here and an even here, or an even here and even here, or even in both of these. Yeah, both of these and odd here. So if this is 3, that would say there are 2 evens here, but then there has to be 3 evens here, because this is the only odd, which is not allowed. So this can't be 3, this has to be a 4. This can't be 3 or 4. This can't be 3 or 4. This can't be 4. This can't be 4. This can't be 4. So both of these are even. One of these is even, one of these is odd. So this says there has to be 3 odds here. One of these is odd, therefore these 2 must be odd. which means this cannot be 5 or 6. This is 1 or 3. This cannot be 1 because that's saying there are 0 evens in the surrounding digits, and this is already 1. So this has to be 3. Maybe it was here that I messed up. I don't know. This says there has to be 2. This can't be 3. This can't be 3. This is odd. So this says there's 3 odds. 1, 2, and the 5. So this is 1, 7, or 9 here. I think it might have been here that I messed up. I think I said one of these had to be... I think this one had to be 6, I said. Well, no, this can't be 6. So this does have to be 5. Which makes... I don't like this. This 5 says there are 4 even digits surrounding it. Which means one of these is even, which means this has to be odd. This cannot be... This could be 6. Oh, maybe that was the problem. So cannot be 5, because that would say there's 4 even digits surrounding it, and we know there's 2 odds. This could be 6. Oh, that might have been the error that I made. This cannot be 1, because that's saying there are 0 even digits around it, which there are not. It cannot be 9, it can't be 8, because the even digit has to be one of these two. Because this says there are 4 even digits surrounding it. So this has to be, cannot be 9, cannot be 1. If it's 9, there would have to be 8 even digits surrounding, this is odd, obviously. So this has to be 7. So this is 7, which means this can't be 7. This is 1, 8, or 9. This 7 says there are surrounding... this 1 says there are 0 even digits here. This 6 says there are 5 odd digits here, so either way, these are all odd. So these all have to be odd. Which means this is 7, which means there are 6 even digits surrounding it, which means all of these are even. So this is even, 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 even. This is where, yeah, I made the mistake. I think it was 1. I made that 1 instead. Well, we showed that that can't be 1. So this is 8. This cannot be 8 and is an odd. This has to be a 2. This says there are... Well, we know this is odd. So this has to be either 4, 6, or 8, which would say there are 3, 5, or 7 odd digits in the surrounding cells. Cannot be 5 or 7, so this must be 4. Which makes this 6 or 8. One of these is even, one of these is odd. We're not sure which. Can this ever be 6? If this is 6, this is saying there are 5 odd digits here. And if this is 6, this becomes odd. So then these would be all odd and it would be 6. So therefore this can't be 6 ever. This is 1 or 5, which means this is an odd digit. So it's either 4 evens or 0 evens. If it's 0 evens, then you would have a lot of, yeah, this, at least 2 out of these 3 must be even. So this must be a 5. So that's saying there are 4 evens here. We don't have a guarantee here. There's 2 out of 3 here at least. It could be all 3 though. This cannot be 5. This can't be 2 or 5. This can't be 2. The remaining digits here are 1, 3, 7, and 9. If this is not... Okay, so all of these are odd. That means this can never be 9 because that's saying there are 8 even digits in the surrounding cells. So this can't be 9. Cannot be 9. If it's 1, that would mean there are 0 even digits in the surrounding cells, which would mean there's 5 odd digits here, and that's already odd, so that's not possible. So this can't be 1. Can it be 7? If it's 7, that's saying there are 3 even digits here and 3 even digits here. That's possible. This could be 1. If this is 4, this is saying that, okay, so that's interesting. One of these is even, one of these is odd. Okay. If this is odd already, so that counts how many evens there are. Well, how many evens are there? So this is odd digit. It's at most 2 evens. It cannot be 1 even. It has to be 2 evens, which makes this a 3. So this is a 3. And either this is an even or this is an even. And we've already determined this is, if this is 1, we have a problem here. Right? If this is 1, that means only one of these can be odd, and the rest have to be even here. But then where's the 5 go? It can't go here. So this has to be 6, which is even. So this is even, which means this is 6. That's saying 5 odds surround it. This 3 says there are 2 evens, so this can't be even. This has to be the odd. And this one... so we can only have one of these 2 be odd. So therefore... right. Well, it could be 2 evens here. That actually could work. So 5 is one of these 2. We're not sure which. Remaining digits in row 1 are 1, 7, 8, and 9. That's fine. Six has to be one of these 3 cells here. This could be 2 even cells here. Actually, hold up. This actually could be 2 evens here, too. I actually don't know if that's guaranteed. Yeah, okay, so that was a mistake. Yeah, that was bad logic on my part. Apologies. So we don't actually know this is 1 or 6 or not. This is 6 or 8. So one of these is even and one of the other one's odd. This still could be 2 evens here and then 2 evens here. That's where I made the mistake earlier. Okay, let's go down this way. If this is 7, that's interesting. If this is 7, that means there have to be 6 evens surrounding it, which would mean 3 here and 3 here. That's possible. But therefore, this would not be a 4. This would be even. And the problem is, okay, so if this is 7, these all would be even, these would be even. And therefore, you'd have 4 evens in column 1 and 4 evens in column 3. So all the rest would have to be odd. So these would be even, these would be even. This would be odd, so this could not be a 4. This would be 1 or 3. And it's saying 1 would be that there are 0 even digits here in the surrounding cells, but we know that's even. And this 3 saying there are 2 even digits in the surrounding cells, but we know there's only 1. So this can never be 7. This has to be a 3. which means this is not 3, this is not 3, and this is not 3. This is either there's 1 as an odd digit, and okay, this can't be 3 either. So this is 1 saying there are 0 even digits around it, which means these are all odd. Or it's 4, which is saying there are 3 odd digits surrounding it, which there isn't. So this is odd no matter what. This is odd no matter what. So 4 is either here or here. Well, this can't... This 4, if it were here, would say that there are 3 odd digits surrounding it. But that's not possible because we already have 4. So this can't be 4. Therefore, this must be a 4. Which makes this even. We also know if this is 1, that means there are 0 even cells around, which means they're all odd. Or if it's 6, that means there are 5 odd cells around, which means they're all odd. So this is odd either way. Let's see. Okay, what other digits do we have? We have gray cell here and gray cell here. Those are the interesting ones. We know if this is odd, this has to be even. If this is even, this has to be odd. So if this is even, how many odd cells would there be? It would be 1, 2. It would have to be 6 here. It'd have to be 6 because then and these would all be 5. So that's possible. So then all of these would be odd if that's the case. If this is odd, that means this is even. It could not be 5, it could not be 7, and it can't be 9. It can't be 5 or 7 because of the digits already there. It can't be 9 because it can't have 8 even digits surrounding it. So this has to be even, and it has to be a 6. So this is even and a 6, which means there has to be 5 surrounding odd cells, which means the remaining cells are all odd. This 3 says there are 2 evens. Could be 2 here or 1 here and then 1 here. This is 1 and 9 because it cannot be 5. 5 has to be one of these cells here. And the remaining cells have to be actually 5, 2, and 8. Okay, so this can never... Well, it could be 8 because it could be 7 odd cells surrounding it. So this can't be 4, and this can't be 4. Two would be that there's 1 odd cell in the surrounding 8 cells, but that's not possible because we already have 3 here, so this can't be 2. 5 is saying there are 4 even cells in the surrounding 8 cells. That's possible. Actually, is it? Okay, can it ever be 8? Let's try 8. If it's 8, there are 7 odd cells in the surrounding cells. Well, we know 2 is the even cell, so all 3 of these would have to be odd, because only one of these would be odd. So this cannot be 8. This has to be 5 then. So this is 5, and the last remaining odd digit in the box. Therefore, all the rest must be even. So this is even, even, even. Which forces this to be 6. This is then 2 and 8. The 5 says there are 4 even digits in the surrounding cell. We have 2 here. We must have 2 in these 3. Since there are 2 here and 2 here, this cannot be even because we have 4 evens already. So this is a 1. This is an odd. We tried having okay, so this is 3, which makes this an even. Where is the 5? It has to be here, right? So this is a 5, which makes both of these even. Okay, so this is even, this is even, which means 2 out of 3 here are even. 1 out of 3 here is even, so one of these two is even. This can't be 1 or 3. If it's 2, it's... Okay, so... It cannot be 6, because that would say that all 5 of these are odd. So this can't be 6. If this is 5, that's saying there are 4 evens here, so then all of these would be even. Ah, well, no. This is 1, 7, or 9. We have 1, 3. This is 1, 3, 7, 9, and 8 is one of these two. Okay. Two out of 3 here are even. If this is 2, that's saying there's 1 odd. If there's 2, that's saying there's 1 odd in the surrounding 4 cells, which means it's here. If it's 5, that's saying there are 4 evens in the surrounding 5 cells, which means these are even. If it's 2, that's saying there's 1 odd, which means that these are even. So these are all even no matter what. Therefore, either this is 2, which forces this to be odd, but we have 4 evens, and therefore these are all odd. Or this is 5, which means this has to be a 2, because we need another even here. And these, again, are all odd. So either way, these are all odd. Okay. Let's see. These odds, it cannot be 1, because that's saying there are 0 evens. So neither of these could be 1. It could be 5 or 7. It cannot be 9, because that's saying there are 8 evens surrounding it, and none of those could be 8. So this is 5 and 7. This has to... Oh, since this is 5 and 7, this has to be a 2, because of the 5, 7, 5, 7 pair in the box. So this has to be even, which forces this to be odd. This is 1 or 9. This is 1, 3, or 9. This 5, can this ever be 7? Can this ever be 7? If it's 7, it has to have 6 surrounding cells being even. This can't be 7, because it has 4 at most, and therefore these have to be 4. This could be 7, so this has to be the 7 then, because it has to have 6 surrounding cells be even. So this is 7, this is 5. We have 4 evens in column 5, which eliminates evens in the rest of the column. Therefore, they're odds. These are odd. These are all even. That's interesting. So how many odds does this see, is the question, right? One of these is odd and one of these is even. That doesn't tell us much. If this is 1, that's saying there are 0 evens there, which it cannot be. If it's 6, that's saying there are 5 odds, which it cannot be. So this must be, it can't be 2, so this must be 3. This has to be 8, this has to be 2. This can't be 3 anymore, so where's the 3 in box 8? It has to be here. So this is 3. This 3 says there are 2 even cells here, which it could be. This is odd. Well, this has to be a 6 and is even. All the rest are odds. So these two in row 9. So these are odd. This can't be 5. This is a 6. So this is even. Okay. This even says how many odd digits are around it. And it cannot be 2, because that would mean there's only one odd digit, but there are already 2 odd digits. So this has to be 4, because it can't be 6. So this is 4, which means one of these is odd, one of these is even. We're not sure which. How about here? This already sees 3 odd digits, so it has to be at least 4, and it could be 6, because you could have 5 odd digits here. So this is 4, 6. This is 6. So this has to be 4 and 8. Therefore, that makes this a 2. This has to be odd because we have 4 evens in the column. Okay, this can't be 2 or 4. It, This is 6 or 8 here. This is 2. Okay, this is 4 or 6 here. 2, 4, 6 here. 8 has to be one of these 2 cells in box 2. So 8 cannot be here. This is 2, 4, or 8. And 8 can't be here. Well, we already knew that. Okay. We know where the 5 is in box 5. Cannot be here. Cannot be here. Can't be here. Can't be here. It has to be here. So this is a 5. Okay, this 5 says, yeah. Okay, that's fine. Okay, this can't be 6 here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 odd cells around this cell. If this were 6, it would have to be gray, but it's not gray, so this can't be 6. Therefore, we know this is a 2, 4, 2, 4 pair, which eliminates 2, 4 in the rest of the box, so this has to be a 6, 8 pair, which eliminates 6, 8 in the rest of the column, so this has to be a 4. So this is 4, which means this can't be 4. This 4 says there are 3 odd cells surrounding it, so therefore these both must be even. Because we already have 3 odds here. These are both even. We now have 4 evens in column 6 and in column 7, so the rest must be odd. So this is odd. This is odd, odd, odd. Well, we have 2 evens here. We have 1 odd. We need 2 more evens, so both of these are even. So this is even, even. This can't be 6, so this must be 8, which makes that a 6. Therefore, this must be an 8. This has to be an odd. And this must be an even. This is 2 and 4 here. One of these is 6. We're not sure which. This is 6 or 8, but it can't be 6, so this must be an 8, which makes this a 6. This has to be a 2. Therefore, this can't be 2. This is 8, which makes that a 4, which makes that an 8, which makes that 6. This 4 means this can't be 4, so this is 2, which makes that a 4. This can't be 1 because of this 1, so this is a 9, which makes that 1. Therefore, this can't be 1 here. This has to be a 7 as the remaining digit. This can't be 8, so it must be odd then. Which forces this to be the even and 8. So these two must be odd then. So both of these are odd. This cannot be 6 then. It's 1, 3, or 5. If we try to have it as 5, okay, so one of these is even. So this cannot be 1 because then that would force this to be 0 evens here, and we know one of these is even. It also cannot be 5 because if it's 5, that means both of these are even, which is not allowed because we have 3 evens in that row. So this must be 3. And therefore one of these is even, one of these is even, which fits. The 4 is one of these. Where is the 3 in box 5? Cannot be here. It must be here. This is a 3, which means this can't be 3. Where's the 3 in box 4? It has to be here. So this is 3. Yeah, I'm not sure I like the circles, but I'm not sure what else you can do. Okay, so this can't be 8. Well, that means this must be an 8 and is the even. This has to be 1 and is odd. We have 6 in one of these cells. This cannot be 6, so this must be a 6. So this is the even here, which makes this odd. One of these is even and is a 4. One of these is even and is a 2. This can't be 1. This becomes 5, 7, or 9. That's fine. These are 1 and 5, but this can't be... sorry, 1 and 9. But this can't be 1, so this is 9, which makes this a 1. These have to be 7 or 9 here. The remaining digits here are 5 and 7, but this can't be 5. Therefore, this is a 7, which makes that a 5. The remaining digits here are 1 and 9. We have a 1, 9, 1, 9 pair in row 2, which eliminates 1 and 9 in the rest of the row. So this can't be 9, which makes that 7, which makes that a 9. We have a 1, 9, 1, 9 pair here, which means 1, 9 can't be in the rest of the row. So this must be a 3. That makes this a 7. Where can the 7 be in box 9? It can only be here, which makes this a 9. So none of these can be 9. This can't be a 9 here. The rest of this column is 5 or 9, but this can't be 5, so this must be a 9, which makes this a 5. What else do we have? This can't be 7. Well, we have now a 1, 9, 1, 9 pair in column 1, which eliminates 1 and 9 in the rest of the column. Therefore, this must be 7, this must be 1, this must be 7. This is 1, 9 with 2. So this can't be 1, and this can't be 9 here. This is 1, 9 with 4, and this can't be 1, and this can't be 9. Okay. So one of these is even. That's fine. Let's see. This 6 says there are cannot be 5 odds surrounding it, which there aren't. One of these is even, which is fine. 5 says there would be 4 evens if it were gray, but it's not gray, so it cannot have 4 evens, which is fine. 7 cannot have 6 evens, which is fine. 8 cannot have 7 odds, which is fine. 1 cannot have 0 evens, which is fine. This 8's fine. Oh, this 4. This 4 says there are 3 odd digits surrounding it, and therefore this can't be odd. We already have 3 odd digits. This is an even then, which makes this a 2. So this is 2, this is 4, this is 2, which makes this a 1. That makes this 4, this 9. These are odd. This is an even. We have an odd here, odd here. And we should be able to fill it out now. This 9 means this can't be 9, so this is 1, which makes that a 9, which makes that a 1, which makes that 9, which makes that 1. This one makes that a 9. And that's the solution. Looks good as far as I can tell. We could go through and check it. Let's check it then. This 2 has 1 odd cell around it, which it does. This 4 says that there's 3 odd cells around it, which there are. This 3 says there are 2 even cells around it, which there are. This 1 says there's 0 even cells around it, which there are. This 9, well, okay. It's white, so it's fine. It has to not have 8 even cells around it, which it can never have. This 6 cannot have 5 odd cells around it, which it only has 4. This 5 must have 4 even cells around it, which it does. This 8 can't have 7 odd cells, which obviously it can't. This 7 can't have 6 even cells, which obviously it can't. This 2 can't have 1 odd cell, which it has 2 odd cells around it, so that's fine. This 4 cannot have... Oh, that was another corollary I didn't think of. If you're in the center, you cannot have 5 or 6 in the center. Huh. That would have actually been pretty helpful, too. Interesting. Anyways. This 4 cannot have 3 odd cells surrounding it. It has 5. This 9 cannot have 8 even cells surrounding it. It has 4. This 8 cannot have 7 surrounding cells, or 7 odd cells surrounding it, which has 6. This 7 can't have 6 even cells surrounding it. It has 4. This 3 must have 2 even cells surrounding it. It does. This 1 cannot have 0 cells, even cells surrounding it. It does, as 4. This 6 must have 5 odd cells surrounding it, which it does. This 5 must have 4 even cells surrounding it, which it does. This 9 cannot have 8 even cells, and it doesn't even have 8 cells surrounding it. This 8 cannot have 7 odd cells. It has 4. This 7 must have 6 even cells, which it does. This 4 cannot have 3 odd cells. It has 5. That's fine. This 2 cannot have 1 odd cell. It has 5. This 5 cannot have 4 even cells. It has 2. This 1 cannot have 0 even cells. It has 2. This 3 cannot have 2 even cells, but it has 3. This 6 cannot have 5 odd cells. It has 3. This 3 must have 2 even cells. It has 2. This 5 cannot have 4 even cells. It has 3. This 7 cannot have 6 even cells. It has 2. This 9 cannot have 8 even cells. It's 3. 1 cannot have 0 even cells. It has 4. 6 cannot have 5 odd cells. It has 4. 4 must have 3 odd cells, and it does. 2 cannot have 1 odd cell. It has 4. 8 cannot have 7 even cells. It doesn't even have 7. Whatever. 1 cannot have 0 even cells. It has 2. 5 must have 4 even cells, which it does. 6 must have 5 odd cells, which it does. 7 does not have 6 even cells. It has 4. 3 cannot have 2 even cells. It has 4. 2 cannot have 1 odd cell. It has 4. 8 cannot have 7 odd cells. It has 4. Interesting. 9 cannot have 8 even cells, and it has 4. 4 cannot have 3 odd cells. It has 4. A lot of 4s here. 1 cannot have 0 even cells. It has 3. 2 cannot have 1 odd cell. It has 3. 6 cannot have 5 odd cells. It has 3. 4 must have 3 odd cells. It does have 3. 8 cannot have 7 odd cells. It has 6. 5 cannot have 4 even cells. It has 3. 9 cannot have 8 even cells. It has 2. 7 cannot have 6 even cells. It has 3. 3 cannot have 2 even cells. It has 1. 6 must have 5 odd cells. It does. 3 must have 2 even cells. It does. 2 cannot have 1 odd cell. It has 7. 9 cannot have 8 even cells. It has 4. 5 must have 4 even cells, which it does. 7 must have 6 even cells, which it does. 4 must have 3 odd cells, which it does. 1 must not have 0 even cells. It has 6. 8 must have not have 7 odd cells, and it can't even have 7 repeating. 9 cannot have 8 even cells, but it doesn't even have 8 surrounding cells. 6 must have 5 odd cells, which it does. 2 must not have 1 odd cell. It has 5. 3 must not have 2 even cells. It has 4. 4 cannot have 3 odd cells. It has 5. 8 cannot have 7 odd cells, it has 3. 5 must have 4 even cells, which it does. 1 cannot have 0 even cells, which has 4. 7 cannot have 6 even cells, and it can't even have 6. 4 must have 3 odd cells, which it does. 9 must not have 8 even cells, which it does not. 8 cannot have 7 odd cells, which it does not. 2 must have 1 odd cell, which it does. 6 cannot have 5 odd cells, it has 2. 1 cannot have 0 even cells, it has 3. 3 must have 2 even cells, which it does, 2 and 6. 7 cannot have 6 even cells, which it can't, it doesn't even have 6 neighbors. And 5 cannot have 4 even cells, and it doesn't even have 4 neighbors. So, we showed that it works. Okay. That was, yeah, I made that mistake in the beginning, but fortunately, I was able to catch it fairly early on. Yeah, anyways, that was fun, actually. This even odd parity definitely sort of, you have to wrap your head around it, right? Because it's kind of non-intuitive for me. I don't know, maybe other people have, it's intuitive for them. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this solve, and I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.